Paul and Rice. Well, you'll all figure out what I'm doing as this presentation rolls along. It's tentatively titled Observatory. You've all seen presentations by me before. I'm loud, I'm a little bit rude. I apologize in advance. I will call on you and point at you and just start laughing. So I used to be working on BitToll. And so the question is, what happened to that? And, well, the answer really is this thing called the US government. And so, just sort of as a general warning, whenever you're dealing with money, you have to follow these things called laws. Because once money gets involved, there's all sorts of interesting things that are legislated. And more recently, there's this thing called FinCEN, which regulates finance in states and what information you have to report, stuff like that. And so they published this advisory that said how they interpreted different types of Bitcoin businesses. And so it turns out that under the rules of that, I guess, advisory, what BitToll is qualifies as a money transmission service, which means that I had to do a bunch of stuff. And so I was like, oh, let's go do some paperwork. I love this stuff. I used to do mock trial. I know what I'm doing. Come on. So I talked to Foundry. I found some lawyers in Boston, oddly enough, who sort of knew what they were talking about. And when they referenced Bitcoin businesses, they were at least 4 months up to date, because most of them had died about 3 months ago. And they gave good legal advice. They basically said I had to set up as a money transmission service, and it's going to be a giant nightmare, and it's going to take $250,000. And it's totally doable if you want to go full tilt at it. And so I went, okay, I guess I could find $250,000 somewhere and set up as a money transmission service. And then I went and sat down and read the laws, and there's a lot of stuff you have to do. You have to report transactions and all this legal stuff, and of course suspicious transactions and transactions over $10,000, whether or not they're one transaction or multiple. And that was all doable. But you also have to report people's IDs. And so that means is you have to, every time someone opens an account with this API, you have to get a copy of a certain class of documentation. They have to scan it in, they have to send it to you, you have to verify it, you have to verify it's actually valid. If you think it's suspicious, you have to call up the people who issued it and get them to confirm it. And that's way too much work for me to do. Plus it would basically require tearing down the whole API and adding a bunch of new stuff. So at this point it's not viable. In 5 years, if the US government stops freaking out over money laundering, or I guess if the US government falls. So what I'm working on now is Observatory. How many people here don't know what Observatory is? That's really awesome. I'm ecstatic that no one raised their hand. So Observatory is that system we use. There's lots of stuff about it. It's old. I think at this point it's actually 3 years old. The last person who understood how it worked, well, never existed. Originally, 2 years ago, someone understood how it worked, and then enough people have made enough minor tweaks along the way that no one knows what happened. So until I started working on it, it's Django 1.2, and it's got a lot of stuff it does. And it's sort of cool stuff, but they wrote their own way to do it because this didn't exist, and they never open sourced it in the sense of spinning it off. So there's a lot of custom code that does stuff badly that can be done by Django now, or can be done by another third-party project, and is actually maintained that we don't have to deal with. So I spent some time going through with a machete and cutting stuff out, and there's still lots of stuff left to shoot in the face with a shotgun. It's a little weird. Initially there was a master branch and an RCOS branch and then an RCOS production branch. So you made changes in master, push them to RCOS, push them to RCOS production. At some point someone deleted the RCOS branch. It wasn't me, this is before my time, I swear. And so then we had these two branches, and rather than merging between them, people decided the right way to do this was to make two commits, one on this branch and one on this branch. And that's, I guess, okay, except sometimes this commit would be slightly different from this commit. In one case, someone just decided to include jQuery without ever putting it in the source tree in one of his commits, but not the other. In the other case, he decided that whitespace was optional on the second commit, which really made the merge wonderful. It does some weird system path overloading. This is Python stuff. It's a mess. Tracing functions is very interesting. They have a util module. All util modules, it has too much stuff in it, and everything ends up there eventually, no matter how deep you trace it, because there's always core functionality in that module. They wrote their own custom CSS and JSS unifier. It's called Stomper. It actually uses Google's version on the back end, but it stomps all this stuff together when you make the web request, which isn't particularly fast and really the wrong way to do it, because you shouldn't be using Python to minimize your CSS and JavaScript. You should do it once when you make a change and you should be done. It's got no test cases also, so I managed to break half the website when I did my merge and didn't notice for about a week, which was fun, but I'm working on fixing this. And another problem is it doesn't really match the times. So it has 3 features. You've got projects that have blogs and code. You have people, and then you've got task lists, and that's it. And there's some other stuff hidden in there, secretly. We can say how many meetings you've shown up to, but I don't think anyone's ever done that. It's an admin only function. It's special. So there's just a bunch of stuff it doesn't handle. Like you can't even view users' contributions directly. You have to go to their projects. So I've been cleaning it up, and it's now glorious. So it's a lot easier to get started. So this literally comes up with one command now. I pushed it all into a Vagrant session, which is a way to essentially bring up virtual machines on the fly. So if you want to use this now, you can just install Vagrant, type make test, and it will bring up a virtual machine, install all the dependencies, install the code, install the demo data, have it linked to port 8000 on your local machine, and you get this demo site. Minus this photo, I just haven't added that. And so it works, nothing breaks. If something breaks down, I'm gonna be really embarrassed. Oh shoot, that's my power. I was jinxing myself right there. Well, anyway, if I had showed you a project page, you would see that like 10 groups have updated code and like 4 groups have updated blogs. Well, that's supposed to be, there we go. Right, and so that's the problem. So I sort of want to fix this. And what we do now is the mentors, and in reality, Orthy checks that regularly, and then sends emails to people that open the email who haven't updated their code. And like this is a really low-level based check. Like that system, you push one commit a week and you're green, and I guess a blog post a week that has one letter in it. It's not like we're like really demanding a lot there. But what happens is that we stop checking occasionally, we get overloaded, we go to grad school, we're professors, go on family vacations, whatever, and so we stop keeping a close eye on things. And so I had this idea on how we could fix all of this. And you all should say how you like this, because if you don't like this, you should stop me now before I implement it, and then use my mad dictatorial powers to like make you all use it next semester. So this is all really relevant to you guys, unless, I don't know, you're not going to do RCOS or something, that's crazy talk. So I want to add user pages, right? Because right now you can look at projects, but there's nothing really about the users. And honestly, the projects are cool, but the people are what really makes RCOS. So I want to make so you can just click on a user in that list of users, and it'll tell you about them. It'll be like, they pushed this code, they worked on these projects, they've written these blog posts. Maybe even have an achievement section, have that automatically fill into the global achievement section, so Morty doesn't like have to handwrite HTML anymore. Stuff like that, right? So you can sort of make it like an actual RCOS profile. So initially, I just want to get it so we put all the information about people in there. So we automatically upload our attendance sheets to there. We do presentation scheduling through there, so you can see, oh, they presented twice this semester, 3 times this semester, never this semester. We take code commits and blog posts by user as well as by project, and actually, hopefully, we convert blogs entirely to user-based, and then you can like tag projects in them, and they'll show up on the project page. But blogs are by users, so that way everyone has to write about what they're doing. Because that seems to work as a good system to tell people what they're doing without having to require giant huge status meetings that suck. So basically, add user pages, add scheduling and attendance. Mentors sort of exist. This system has been redone like 5 times and we never actually use it. So my new brilliant idea is that when you make a project, you're assigned a mentor. How someone becomes a mentor is they go to their user page and say, I'm willing to be a mentor. The minute someone is randomly assigned to you or chooses you as a mentor, you are a mentor and life is golden. Or I guess I can force it on the admin page. And so basically, the randomly assigned project creation, if you don't like who your mentor is, you think I'm this horrible person who's going to like hit you with a machete or something, switch to Jarell or switch to someone else, right? Mentors for people can be switched at any time, mentors for projects can be switched at any time. That's basically how it would be. My idea is that if you are a mentor, you don't need another one. We'll see if this is a crazy idea or not. So basically, this system is designed so new projects get mentors. Once you've been through the system a few times, you don't. But to keep everyone on their toes, I want to introduce email babysitting. So when that smiley face goes yellow, you get an email going, hey, your smiley face just went yellow. You should write a blog post, you should push some code, you should tell us we're on vacation, and we'll forgive you. And when it goes red, you get an email. The professors who are like signed up in the system get an email, and your mentor gets an email. So that way, we don't have to check the status pages and be like, oh, that person hasn't pushed code in 3 weeks, and you get run over by a car, and you go home, you get kicked out of RPI, whatever. It emails me, says, hey, this person hasn't pushed code for 3 weeks. And the person emails us and says, oh, I got run over by a car, I'm so sorry, but you know, my hands are like gone. I'm probably not gonna write this anymore. And you go, okay, sweet, right? And that's all automated, hoping to explain, right? So that's my idea. That's what I want to do before the next semester starts to make my life easier. And then I want to change one other thing. So we throw up the thanks slide. Everyone claps now. And then we go to questions, because this is how presentations normally go.
Yeah.
And everyone feels much less socially awkward about this, because there's not this weird, are we done with questions, right? And while I'm answering questions, the next guy can come up here and look impatient. So I don't know who's next. Shoot, I already forgot the name. It's you, Gluno. Yes, it's him. So I will unplug, people will ask me questions while he comes up and presents and looks impatient, right? So feedback, good, bad, I think this is the worst thing I've ever done. Oh God, there's so many questions. I'll start with you, Zach.
While you're making changes, if you could make it so that the blog posts have some sort of rich text or like markdown.
They have markdown support already.
Oh, they do?
If they don't, I'll fix that soon. Make an issue on GitHub.
All right.
They do. For lots of like feature requests, I'm just gonna say make an issue on GitHub, and you should do it because I won't remember. My brain's not that good. Tim, I learned your name today, but I've known you for 4 years.
Yeah. If everyone's a mentor, does that mean no one's a mentor?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I was saying.
Well, yeah.
There's a good question to say. The mentors are usually Tim, you should have been a mentor this semester. So we missed you on being a mentor. Usually we select some mentors who have been here or who have shown some interest in our cause. That's why we usually selected. You should have been a mentor this time, but I missed out on it.
Okay, so you think rather than having users toggle to mentors, we have like current mentors be able to toggle new people to mentors?
Yeah, we slowly, gradually, because see,
that makes more sense, honestly.
Yeah, because we want to say, if all the mentors are seniors, then the risk low. So we just want a few with too many in the senior, upper classmen, and few in the lower classmen, so that they can gradually.
Got it. So that makes sense. Does everyone else agree mentors will be chosen by other mentors and it won't just be a random toggle? Well, it looks like everyone's nodding like a bobblehead. So who else had questions? Okay, I'm gonna go in the back because I think that's a new question, Jarrell. So, back there. Nope, you. Right there. You're looking confused.
All right. When you sign up to be a mentor, you should put something like things you can check off that you specialize in, like if you specialize in web design so that you can be working with a project that you'll know what's happening on and give them some guidance that way.
Right. Ideally, what it would be is you just put what you like to read in your user page for everyone, and when you become a mentor, they just look at your user page and go, oh, this guy does C++, and I just wrote a Haskell project. Let's kick him out and choose someone cooler or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I think you are next.
Yeah. One, I now understand why you're making weird looks while I was talking about lawyers and money with Pacific. Two, I think it would be cool if people could, there's 2 ways I can think of it. People tag their, kind of off of that, people can tag their projects with what actual languages they're using, what libraries, stuff like that. Or if you could just pull from their GitHub somehow, how it actually shows you the percentage of what kind of code they're using.
Make an issue request, make an issue, say, I want cooler stats on projects or tags on projects. We can totally do that, it'd take me like a day. I can do it exactly the same way GitHub does it. So those questions I think are all new. And I swear there's another question over here, but your hand went down, so I'm going with Jarrell.
So instead of assigning a project to a mentor, I think mentors should pick what projects they want to do. Simply because the mentor should be involved in all the projects they're mentoring, at least to some extent. Whether they're just reading blog posts and looking at the code, or actually being involved in helping architect the project and advising them. So it should be something they're actually interested in working on.
So no random assignment, but like all the mentors get emailed when a new
that
project
also
is
sort of
added.
solves the problem where what if the mentor doesn't know the language the project's being used or something like that. And really, if there's no mentor that's interested in working on a project, the project should probably be revised.
So what I'm taking out of this is we should probably just email all the mentors when a new project is added, saying this project needs a mentor. Is anyone interested?
Yeah.
And if they don't get a mentor inside a week, we should send out another email that says you're all a bunch of lazy slackers or no one likes this project. Deal with the mentors and professors. Okay.
But I also think it should be, when people are proposing new projects, the mentors should be brought into that process.
Got it. So you're saying we should move project proposals into Observatory?
So the project proposals should have more feedback, and from the initial proposal, mentors should be involved in the project. I think it would help with a lot of projects that end up not being successful simply because there's like very critical flaws in the project. When everything's just emailed to that RCOS list at the beginning of the semester, not everything gets read, and when things are emailed like the day the final submissions are due, there's no way it can be revised anyway. So I feel like if mentors are involved earlier in the process and basically a mentor decides they like an idea, they can then help that group come up with their final proposal.
So just to cut you off because we don't have enough time. Everyone else who has suggestions, throw them on GitHub or talk to me afterwards. For you, Jarrell, I'm gonna add a pending tag and like we'll have a project proposal system inside Observatory because that should be done there as well. And I might even automate it so it pulls from the RCOS email list. This would be cool. Okay, I'm gonna shut up so we can move on.